What's up, everybody? Welcome to Storm Sessions. My name is Danny Enriquez, and I'm here with the starting four for Miami's women's basketball team, Natalija Marshall. Natalija, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, glad to have you. A little cold, kind of the weather you're used to a little bit, but we're adjusting.
Yeah, for sure. I won't be pulling out any coats. Definitely not. I'm used to this, but yeah, it's been nice having a break from the heat for a little bit.
So you're winding down, college career, like getting ready for the next step. How you enjoying just that last college experience?
I'm loving it. I'm so happy that I chose the U. Just enjoying this new opportunity and experience with Coach Cullup and her new staff and my new teammates and my master's program that I'm really liking, and just enjoying what the city of Miami has to offer in general. I'm really enjoying it down here.
And you're used to the city. I know your parents are Midwesterners, but you born in DC, raised in New York City, right?
Yep.
So what was it like growing up in a city that's like, you can't just go to the backyard and play on a hoop. You got to go to a hoop. What was that experience growing up in a city?
I loved it. I could see a basketball hoop from, our apartment. It was in the park across the street, and just kind of growing up in that New York City outdoor basketball culture was super fun. It was kind of all I knew, excuse me. And yeah, just having my parents kind of teach me, how to shoot and how to dribble and how to whatever, and kind of being my trainers and stuff along the way was super cool. But yeah, the New York City basketball scene is definitely a unique one. So super excited and happy that I was able to kind of experience that as a young kid.
And your background's cool because your parents, both athletes, but also, really great academically. Your mom is a math professor. Mm-hmm. What was that like growing up in a house with so much intellectual horsepower?
Yeah, I think sports were always kind of in our family, but it was never pushed onto me or pressured onto me to play a sport. But I think from an academic standpoint, both of my parents, like you said, were very successful in school and in their careers. And in school and grades, that was important. Just doing the best you can in school, finding something that you were passionate about and that you were happy, and just giving it your all. That was just always instilled in me at a young age. And yeah, I think I've kind of carried those habits up until here at the U.
From talking to your mom, even though you had the athletic genetics, it wasn't like you just came out the womb super coordinated. What was it like in the early days?
Oh my gosh. It felt kind of watching videos of me back when I was younger. I was super uncoordinated, kind of awkward, kind of was figuring out my body. And I think I grew 6 inches one year. So kind of just figuring out how to do that from an athletic standpoint. And yeah, trying out a bunch of different sports. I think I tried 4 or 5 different sports until I landed on basketball finally. But yeah, it was interesting for sure.
Your mom track, right? She's in the Hall of Fame of her college, up over Milwaukee. Your dad, I believe, played soccer. Mm-hmm. So how did basketball end up in your life?
They're both in the Hall of Fame. I have to say that.
Oh, sorry, Dad.
Kill me.
Dad.
Yeah, they're gonna kill me if you just mentioned my mom. No, but yeah. So they were both successful in college. And I tried track. I tried soccer. They didn't really click. And basketball was actually the last sport that I tried. And it kind of just stuck. Just worked at it, and eventually got an offer to play collegiately. I think 8th grade or so. And realized I could kind of use that to get to college for free, and kind of, didn't stop working ever since.
So obviously there's the height factor, but in terms of the game itself, what was it about the game that drew you in?
Love the competitiveness. Absolutely love the competitiveness. Kind of just growing up in New York City on the hardwood and playing outside and playing with the boys, and New York City basketball, like I mentioned before, is super big. So yeah, I would say the competitiveness.
So about that New York court scene, I heard you played in Rucker Park. Mm-hmm. What was that whole culture about?
It was so fun. Rucker Park, Dykeman, West 4th. I mean, it was electric. People come out from all across the city to kind of watch these games, girls, guys, whatever it may be. Super competitive, music playing, people watching from walking down the street in cars. Like, it was just super fun and kind of indescribable if you didn't kind of grow up in that. But yeah, super grateful to be able to experience that, like I said, like at a young age. So
it seems like a rougher vibe out there. It's not like they baby you.
Oh no, for sure. I think, there were a lot of fouls that weren't called, for sure. But I think that's kind of just the excitement. Like I said, the competitiveness, the physicality that I really liked growing up. So.
You had the academic side going as well as the athletics. What else were you into besides sports and athletics and
Traveling.
academics?
Traveling is a big one. Love to travel. My family, that we're a small family. I'm an only child, but we've traveled a lot ever since I was young. And so kind of taking those summers and those breaks and different times when I wasn't playing basketball to be able to travel and see the world, I'm so grateful for. And that's kind of one of the things that I really enjoy in my free time still to this day. So traveling and trying to just experience other cultures and people and trying new foods is something I really enjoy.
So Natalia is a common name down here in Miami, but you have the J in there because
Yes.
Serbian background, right,
Yep.
on your mom's side.
Yep.
Huge basketball culture, as we
Yep.
know, best player in the world is Serbian.
Yep.
So what impact did that side of the culture have on you?
Yeah, I think it's really cool when you're able to go to the place that you're from. So kind of going there at a young age that I don't really remember, but then we've gone back a couple times since then, maybe 3 or 4 times. And just being in Serbia and kind of being where my roots are and where my feet are is super, super awesome. And obviously seeing a Serbian player play at the highest level and being globally recognized and known is super awesome. So yeah, I love my Serbian heritage.
So people who don't know about Serbia.
Hmm.
What can you tell them about just the culture, the place that they might not understand?
Well, that's a good question. I would say the food. The food is unreal. Kind of like a Mediterranean Balkan type of cuisine, lots of meats and cheeses, and I love to try new foods as well. So yeah, I would say the food and the people is really what makes that place.
Yeah, I live in Miami Beach. There's a Serbian place. The bread is probably the best bread I've ever had
It's
in my
so
life.
good. It's so good. Yeah.
So you're coming up, obviously New York basketball. You're in the scene.
Yep.
You mentioned you had an offer 8th grade.
I think so. Yeah.
Let me ask what that was like. When I was in 8th grade, I wasn't even thinking about anything, right? So now you were already
Yeah.
thinking about college and people trying to get you to go to their school. How did you take that at that age?
I think I didn't really know the full extent as to what that meant, like a full scholarship. I kind of just knew that a university or a college wanted me to play for their team, but I don't think I understood that in its full capacity. And then kind of as I was playing on, better teams and travel ball, and I went to a big basketball high school in New York, and kind of just having those conversations and then eventually being able to talk to coaches my junior year, kind of understanding what that all meant and realizing, okay, like my hard work is eventually going to pay off and I'm going to be able to play hopefully collegiately for free. So
What was your big growth spur? Was that before that offer?
I think it was. I want to say it was 6th or 7th grade. Yeah, like 5 or 6 inches one year.
So that's like a hard time for everybody. Everybody's trying to fit in junior high. You're growing. Your parents, obviously, great athletes.
Yeah.
You're standing out, I'm sure, in a lot of ways. What was that like? Were you trying to fit in, but still standing out?
Yeah, it was hard. I think just from a social standpoint, I think middle school is tough for anybody. But I really struggled in middle school, just socially trying to find my place and trying to fit in. And, the people at my middle school didn't necessarily play sports to the level or dedication standpoint, I guess, that I was at, on the weekends and early mornings and late nights and that kind of thing. But then I had my basketball team that was kind of totally different in a different part of the city. So kind of trying to balance who I thought I was, who I wanted to be, who I was hanging around. So yeah, it was tough, but I eventually found my way.
So you go to Christ the King.
Yep.
People down here, this is a football and baseball town for the most part, as far as the high schools. So for those who don't know, explain how big Christ the King is in the basketball community.
Yeah, Christ the King is huge on the girls and boys side, which I've always found was super cool. So some alumni that we have on the women's side, Sue Bird, Tina Charles, Chimika Holtzclaw. On the men's side, Lamar Odom, Jose Alvarado. There's a bunch of guys that went on to play professionally for a bunch of years. But yeah, Christ the King, huge basketball school. It's in the middle of Queens. We're in a Catholic conference. That's kind of unique also to New York City. The best basketball teams and schools are Catholic schools. So yeah, that was just a super fun environment. Every night the games were packed and super exciting. And yeah, it was really, really fun going to Christ the King.
You talked about how you kind of found yourself during this time period as far as who you're hanging out with and just learning more about yourself. Tell me more about what you learned about who you were, what made you unique, and where you fit in, where you wanted to be.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think kind of just being comfortable and confident in myself. I a lot of pieces of my identity that I was trying to figure out, like I said, in those middle school years. And, I cared about school, but I also cared about basketball and I love to travel and I'm a family person and just all of these things that I was trying to figure out how I can just mesh and blend into one. And then eventually when I got to high school, I kind of got older, a little bit more mature, more confident, kind of just realizing like the people that love you and that want to see you do great are going to accept you for all aspects of who you are. So kind of just understanding that and that kind of being my mantra for a couple years.
Only child, right?
Yeah.
So you guys are a trio.
Yep.
Seeing the world.
Yep.
What was that like, seeing the world, just kind of that tight nucleus?
So fun. I mean, we traveled mostly Europe, a little bit of Mexico and a little bit of the Caribbean, but mostly Europe, and kind of trying to get to Serbia anytime that we go over there, just because it's close. But yeah, it's awesome being able to kind of travel with my parents and have that special bond with them. I'm already waiting for our next trip. I don't know where we're going, but hopefully somewhere super exciting, either this summer or next fall. Yeah, it was awesome. I think it kind of brought us together as well.
What was your favorite place you visited?
Oh, favorite place. With them, I would say Lisbon, probably. We did that 2 summers ago. Super awesome city.
What did you like about that?
It was different. It had a different European vibe, I thought, than some of the other cities that we've been to. It's near the water. The food was great. The people were super nice. The city's completely walkable. I would totally go back. So I would probably say Lisbon.
So such a cosmopolitan young woman. You're in New York City, and then you're going to the Midwest,
Yeah.
South Bend. What was that process like that led you to that great program?
It was a culture shock. I mean, South Bend, there's really not much there except Notre Dame, and that's, a good thing. It's a Notre Dame, a small college town, Catholic, private, very tradition based. Yeah, like I said, it was a culture shock. I think coming from a big city and everything's open late and this and all these fun things to do. And then South Bend, you kind of are just thrown into just a small Midwestern city. And I kind of had to realize that and enjoy it and kind of embrace that and be in the moment. But yeah, it was a transition for sure the first few weeks.
What do you like about the change?
What did I like about the change? It was smaller and it was quieter paced. At the beginning, I didn't necessarily love the slower pace, but I kind of got used to it and kind of, you don't have to wait in traffic for an hour. There's not very many places you can go. Like I said, in a good way, kind of just being engulfed in that college town and knowing like these are the only 4 years I'm going to have being a college kid, enjoying this time. And obviously Notre Dame is a big football school as well. So that was super fun.
What was the transition being star player, obviously highly recruited, and then you start all over again as a freshman?
Oh gosh, it was hard for a couple reasons. I came in when it was COVID, so it was the summer of 2020. So that was like the height of everything that year. So that was really rough in itself. I also had ACL surgery that January, so I didn't play my whole freshman year. I redshirted. And so trying to find my identity, almost similar to middle school. I have these new friend groups. I'm in this new area. I can't play basketball. I'm not with the team, physically on the court. I'm kind of watching. And then COVID and all the things that were happening across the country and across the world. So that was tough that first year. But kind of once I got through that, it was, I would say, smoother sailing.
How did people find you as being just a New York person? What did you notice as far as like, hey, I'm kind of different than, same, but different than these people?
That's a good question. I think, Notre Dame surprisingly has a super big Northeast population of its students and its alumni. So I actually found a bunch of people that were either from New York, Jersey, Connecticut, PA, like that kind of vibe. So they kind of understood things that I was saying and stuff I was feeling in terms of the differences. But yeah, I mean, kind of finding your people. We don't have that much free time anyway throughout the season when we're in the height of season, but kind of in the summer trying to explore South Bend and Indy and going up to Chicago and things like that. So yeah, just trying to make the most of it.
How did your game grow in such a program like that?
Oh my gosh, my game grew tremendously. Notre Dame has a history of not only producing the best players offensively and defensively, but kind of winning championships and being a winning program and having players that go on to do incredible things on and off the court, which is what initially drew me to the school. Yeah, I think I grew a lot, getting my shot right and kind of just working on different parts of my game offensively and defensively. And we won the ACC championship my senior year, which was awesome. Capped off like a great 4 years. So
So you graduate, next step in life, you got a lot of options off the court, on the court. What led you to choose University of Miami?
There were a bunch of factors. I had the option to stay at Notre Dame for a fifth year. I was granted a fifth year of eligibility after COVID, and kind of just thinking about if I wanted to stay or, completely branch out, try something new for a year. And essentially, obviously, I chose the latter. I think there were a few reasons that stuck out. Notre Dame didn't have the master's program that I wanted. I wanted something in sports, and Miami has a great sports admin program that I'm in. Love it so much. I just wanted a fresh start, honestly. Like, I wanted to have a bigger role on the team. I wanted, to start over just 1 year, kind of try something new. And Miami came calling, and I mean, I had to, hear what they had to say. So yeah, I'm super excited that I chose I think just the opportunities that the city of Miami has presented and the opportunities that will be here once I graduate was super exciting. So those were kind of the main reasons.
In terms of the city of Miami,
Yeah.
what drew you in?
I think the food. I'm a huge foodie. The ability to kind of just be in a big city again, like that kind of feel. Modeling is something that I'm into, and I eventually got signed over the summer to Ford Models here in Miami. So just some things outside of basketball that Miami presented that South Bend didn't have, that I kind of was just willing to kind of try for a year. So yeah.
Food wise, what's your spot?
Oh my gosh. I love Komodo. I'm a huge sushi person, so love Komodo. What else do I like? Green Street Cafe in the Grove, staple. I mean, I have this app where I like put in all the restaurants that I've been to and I rank them. So I have like 100 in there that I want to try and that I have tried already. So yeah, just I'm having fun with that, trying the new food here.
So the Ford modeling contract, was that already in place when you came to Miami? Was that something you picked up down here?
It wasn't. It was
How'd that
something
come
I
up?
picked up here. Kind of a friend of a friend that I knew, and I had a conversation over the phone, and then eventually an in-person conversation with someone at Ford. And it kind of worked out, and they were willing to kind of sign me as one of the athletes on their roster. So yeah, super grateful for that. And that was on my bucket list. So super happy I was able to do that.
So that was something you didn't do at all before, or was that something you kind of built towards?
I dabbled in modeling a little bit in South Bend. There weren't a bunch of opportunities just because of how small the city was. But I did a little bit of that prior in New York City, and I knew that was something, obviously, in a market like Miami that I wanted to try to pursue. So
mindset wise, obviously very difficult to do. There's a lot that goes into it. It's not just you show up and take pictures.
Yeah.
How do you prepare for that versus preparing for big basketball game?
Yeah. I mean, there have been some opportunities that I've had to turn down just throughout the season because, shoot days can be 12 or 14-hour days. And obviously in season, I don't have that luxury to just be completely off the grid for a whole day, obviously. But yeah, just some things here and there. I'm trying to do some small photo shoots and trying to get my name out there and get some brands attention, hopefully with some athletic brands. So that's a huge goal of mine in the off season with some more time, obviously, to be able to kind of tap into that part of, those aspects of my goals.
So just all this different stuff in your background as far as, your parents are Midwesterners.
Yep.
Dad's African-American, mom is American Serbian descent. You're in New York City. You're in South Bend. You're down here. You're modeling. You're playing basketball.
Yeah.
Who is Natalija Marshall in 2025?
Oh my gosh. Who am I? That's a good question. Put me on the spot here. I'm a go-getter. I want to try any and everything. I'm super spontaneous. Like I said, I love traveling and just being out there, putting myself out there. Yeah, I'm a go-getter for 2025.
One thing that's changed in 2025, just looking at your box scores, the threes.
Yeah.
I mean, you go from not shooting that many to shooting a lot and making a lot.
Yeah.
Kind of makes me wonder why they didn't have you shooting before. You're making so many. But what was that process like?
Yeah, that was something that I really wanted to work on in the off season. That was a huge goal of mine, was to be able to stretch myself offensively to the 3-point line and kind of open up our offense for everyone. Having someone at my size to be able to shoot threes and make them, obviously, was going to be a big asset for this team and in this roster. And yeah, it's confidence, kind of being in the gym, those reps, and my coaches and teammates have, the utmost confidence in me. And it's been fun letting those fly, especially at home. And yeah, being able, like I said, to stretch the defense, and it's been fun.
So you had a 4.0, right? This last semester.
Yes.
I know you're proud of that.
Yep.
Sure. Mom and dad are real happy about that
Yep.
one too. Having success on the court,
Mhm.
got the modeling contract. A lot ahead of you. What's next? I know you're focused on the season, but
Yep.
what's after that?
Postseason, a long-term goal is to play overseas. For the longest time, I wasn't sure if that was something that I wanted to do, but I've changed my mind a little bit. So I want to play overseas. That season kind of starts end of summer, early fall. So that won't be for a while, but travel. I have some trips planned for the spring and summer. So excited about that. And just keep getting better and just enjoying Miami. The weather, I love the weather down here. So super excited for the off season, being able to just enjoy Miami and working out and the season ahead. So
What trips you got planned?
I have Yosemite,
Oh,
never
nice.
been, and Taiwan, hopefully. Not official, but hopefully Taiwan.
Yeah, I went to Yosemite this season when the football team played there, and it was very spiritual. You're kind of surrounded by these giant rocks. Not a lot, it's not like you're doing a ton of stuff. You're just kind of zoning in. So
I'm excited, never been.
You're gonna love it.
Yeah.
All right, coming up February, Miami plays Notre Dame.
Yeah.
What's that gonna be like for you?
It'll be very full circle. I'm excited. It's going to be a little weird. Like I still keep in contact with like everyone in that program, the coaches and players and stuff. So yeah, it'll be weird, but I'm excited to see everyone and compete. I mean, they're a great team. I think they're 3 in the nation right now. So it'll be a super big game for us personally, and kind of just see where we're at caliber wise with a great ACC team, and it's at home. So I'm super excited about that. It'll be fun.
Do they know you're shooting threes now? Or are you doing that in practice?
I've been getting some text messages like, okay, I see you. But yeah, it'll be a really fun game.
And one more question on the modeling, because I know there's a lot to it. It's not just, you show up. What are some of the things that you're learning about the actual technique and what you have to do to be successful in that field? Obviously coming from athletics, it's a whole different thing.
Yeah. It's a lot more of a relaxed in-person job than you would think. Like when you're standing in front of a camera and there's, 5 or 10 or 15 people behind the camera kind of watching, the more relaxed and easygoing and just more like at peace that you can be, the better the photos will come out. Kind of more focusing on, relaxing your shoulders and being more chill, which is the complete opposite of basketball, obviously. Yeah. So yeah, kind of just diving into that, and it's just funny how that works out. But yeah.
You've been lucky to be in college when women's basketball is just exploding in all kinds of ways, professional, college, on the court, off the court.
Yep.
Really, it's, at least from a fan perspective, it seems like a unique time. For someone like you who has diverse interests, obviously has diverse talents, what's that been like?
It's been awesome. Kind of seeing people that I grew up playing against and with, even like, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and Kim and Brink, all these people that are in my class, my graduating high school class, I should say, and kind of seeing them explode and get the attention and notoriety that they deserve, and that the players for years and years in the W have needed and should have gotten, and kind of seeing that and how, men's players are supporting us and the media and all these people, and kind of just seeing the rise of women's basketball. It's been really, really fun and exciting. And kind of to your point, like Unrivaled, the new league that's here in Miami, the new 3-on-3 league.
Yep.
I went to the game for the first time last week. Amazing, so electric, super fun. So yeah, having that in my backyard has been really, really awesome too.
One thing about women's sports, women's basketball, I think is really cool is, young girls able to go and see women succeeding in ways that maybe they don't always see on TV. I know I took my daughter to a game and her eyes were like huge because she couldn't believe, she saw Haley's pink shoes and she's like, oh, I didn't know you could wear pink shoes and play sports. What does that mean to you to be an inspiration to women, young girls, like yourself at that age?
Yeah. I think especially with social media and just the rise of, the amount of eyes that are on us, even things like that, like the pink shoes or how we do our hair, makeup, or, what we post on social media. People are seeing everything. People are taking note of everything and emulating what we're doing, good and bad. So I think it's really important to be, as good of a role model as we can be, and trying to project a positive, uplifting message for girls and young women. And yeah, I think we have, on our team, obviously the Cavenders have a large following, and just the way that they kind of encourage girls and women, and after games and signing autographs and pictures and stuff has been really awesome to see, and kind of inspired me to do more of that. So
on the court, is there a moment? It could be Notre Dame, it could be Miami. I know you had a couple of big games this year already that you just feel, man, I was really going? It just sticks out in your mind.
It's a good question. I would say I'll do one of each. I'll say at Notre Dame, we played at Tennessee my senior year. That was last year, I think. We were down like 15, came back and won. That was awesome. You know, Tennessee is a storied program, storied coach, the late Pat Summitt. But this year, I would probably say maybe Jacksonville. That was kind of the beginning of the year. One of the first games where I really, really felt comfortable kind of in my role, offensively and defensively. Some threes fell. We won big at home. Just one of my first big games for Miami. So that was really fun to do that at home.
Pre-game, are you listening to hype music? I know some people like a Little Baby,
Yeah.
Rod Wave. I hear people listen to gospel or R&B before games to kind of go the other direction.
Yeah.
What about you?
You know, it varies. Depends on the game, depends on how I'm feeling, the mood, the time of day. You know, sometimes we play at noon, sometimes we play at 7, so it depends. I definitely, this is a hot take, have Taylor Swift in there. I'm a huge Swiftie. My teammates don't necessarily love that. There's a few that are, but definitely have some Taylor Swift in there pregame.
Which era? More like the country era, the New York era?
All of it.
All eras.
All of it. All eras.
Do you have any musical side to you, or?
I took piano for a few years, 2 or 3 years, just lessons at home, but didn't really stick. But I know a few pieces, I guess. But yeah, definitely not a pianist by any means.
So you got a busy schedule between athletics, academics, and now you got the modeling contract. If you're not doing one of those 3 things, what are you doing?
What am I doing? Trying new food in Miami, for sure. Binge watching Ozark. Love Ozark. Top 3 show of all time, in my opinion. Or FaceTiming my parents.
There you go. So you're a go-getter. I know you got to be a goal setter, do all the stuff you're doing. And then you got immediate goals. But let's say 10 years down the line, where's Natalija Marshall?
10 years down the line. I'll be 32. I want to have traveled to every continent. That's on my bucket list. I want to be financially independent. And I want to live close to my parents. Not necessarily like door to door. We don't need to be that close. But maybe same city, same state, something like that.
Awesome. Well, Ty, it's been great getting to know you.
Thank you.
Remember to like and subscribe to Storm Sessions on Miami's official YouTube channel. Also Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever your podcasts are found. Again, Natalija, man, really appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.